Hello, hello, everybody. Welcome, guys. Welcome to the stream here. Man, it's going to be a fun one today. You are looking at your very own V1 Simulations house livery, courtesy of my good friend Jungly. He's linked in the description below. He's actually a real artist if you want to check him out. But, man, guys, welcome to the stream. Howdy from the UK. Dimitri's out on vacation in... Where were you? You said you were, was it Greece? Yes, Greece. Man, that's dedication right there, folks. Howdy, Captain Tom. Good to have you here. Timmy, Tom, Technical Aviator, Joers182, Slam Cannon in the house. What's going on? Elusive is watching from his house about 1 mile from DCA. All right, man. Awesome. Tommy Monroe also in the house. It's okay, man. We'll catch you next time. Thanks for dropping by, Tommy. So, wow. Yeah, guys, if you haven't noticed, we hit 3,000 subscribers. So we are sitting in the Flight Factor A320. We're going to fly on down to Washington National, DCA, and we're going to do the RNAV visual. Oh, I'm sorry, not the RNAV. We're just going to do a straight-up visual, rear visual 1.9er. Now, I am flying under real-world weather right now, and the winds are actually gusting out of the north up to about 15 knots. So, when we get down there, we may just have to change the direction of the winds. I'll keep the real weather in there, but I'll just change the direction so we can land with the proper wind, because 15 to 20 gusts landing on 1.9er, if it was coming from the north, that wouldn't be too good. We don't want to do that. So, we might have to flip the wind direction around, but yeah, we're sitting here in Boston, and let's get this puppy fired up and ready to go. Captain Tom asks, what's the story on the registration? That is my daughter's name, Layla. So... Jungly, the artist as he was, he adds little details just like that. Like there's a V1 here on the nose gear door, which I love. It's got my daughter's name on the registration, and also the kind of the European style, I guess, the V1 there right on top of the nose and the cockpit. So yeah, it is exciting. Excited to fly it. Probably see me flying this livery quite a bit. I really, really like the way it turned out. So let's get things started up here, guys. I had the aircraft sitting on ground power. So we'll go ahead and just do a preliminary cockpit flow here. We'll go ahead and get the crew supply oxygen on. The ADRs are already in the alignment mode. We should already have our fuel, so we can go ahead and turn off those fuel pumps. Let's go ahead and get the seatbelt sign on. We can arm the emergency lights. And once we get the flap open message, we'll fire up that APU. Beautiful BSS sound pack. And guys, if you haven't noticed, the BSS guy, Comrade, he actually dropped a teaser video already for the Tolus sound pack coming out, and he powered up the airplane. And man, did it sound good. So I'm excited for that. Calbaro, Austin, Texas in the house at work. Oh man, don't get busted. Good to have some more Texas love represent here. Dimitri says the color's looking good. Appreciate it. Thank you. Greetings from India. Nice. All right, listen to that beautiful APU spooling up there. We've got APU available. Let's go APU bleed. Disconnect the ground power. Let's get these temps down just a wee bit. And let's jump right into the box. I don't have the VAT sim going today just yet, guys. I'm still working on that. I figured we're going to be messing with the weather and stuff, and I really want to do the RNAV visual, so I figured this would be the best way to just have a relaxing flight on down there. Don't have to worry about asking for a certain approach or whatever. We can just do what we need to do to get done. So we're going to go Boston DCA right here. Let's go ahead and make this a little bit bigger. We'll hop into land mode, turn our constraints on so we can see what we're actually building. Today's flight number is going to be a V1's Sim or a Victor 1 Sierra. I got to figure out what call sign I want to use. We're going to have to do a vote. I'm thinking Victory for V Victor. But when we start flying this livery on Pilot Edge, we're going to have to come up with a call sign. I'll have to come up with a letter of agreement with the controllers, just like we would in real life. Hopefully they'll give us leeway on that so we can use our own call sign. We're going to go ahead, align on ref, confirm the alignment. Alright, so we are cost index 35, Boston DCA. We're going to depart off of runway at 9er. So we're going to shoot off a runway 9er on the SOX 5. Out to SOX. Insert that. Let's take a look. SOX 5 out to SOX. That looks good. Followed by direct to Robbinsville, Romeo Bravo Victor. And we don't have... I think it's this one. 196. Let's insert that. Let's see. Is that correct? Yeah, that looks good. That's the right Robbinsville. Then Modena, Mike, X-Ray, Echo. And then we're going direct to Fergie. Fergie now, in real life, the controllers will probably vector you around and then they'll ask you if you can accept direct to Fergie. Let's go ahead. Oh, that's not the right Fergie there. So we're going to insert, and we're going to clear out that Fergie, and we got to go select the other Fergie. Wow. Saber 908 coming in with a monster donation, man. $50 for the flight training. This is a little more of what I used to pay for 1 hour flight training, but for you, Captain. Wow. Saber 908, monstrous donation. Thank you so much, man, for supporting the channel. Glad you're enjoying the content. Thank you so much for that whopping $50 donation. Welcome to the stream. I hope you enjoy this content as you've been enjoying the rest of it. So thank you, Saber 908. All right, let's threw me off guard there. It was just very generous of you. Thank you, guys. You guys are awesome. All right, there is Fergie. Then we're going to go ahead and load in Arrival. We're going to just put in the... We're going to just put in the runway 19er. So there is an RNAV, or I'm sorry, there is an RNP to 19, but I'm not going to do the RNP. We might save that for a different video because I want you guys to see a full-blown, hand-flown visual RNAV in there. So we'll get that set. All right. Captain Gio's already saying who's going to repo this puppy back to DFW. Yeah. It's going to have to be somebody special. I'm going to have to go over the landing rates, and we're going to see who's got the best landing rates. I repoed it into Boston and had a nice landing, so hopefully that will continue today. All right, there's that. Secondary, initialize. We're going to do Boston. If you guys have been watching that Advanced MCDU series, I kind of went over how to do an air return without the secondary. And I'm going to be dropping the one with the secondary here momentarily. All right, if we bang an engine off 9, we're not going to come back to 9, and we're actually going to come back to 4. Let's come back to 4 right if we blow an engine there. QNH today. What do we got outside? What do we have? We've got 2986. Temperature is... What we got? OAT. Wing 090 at 8. OAT is 22. $200 in the DH. Just because I don't want to look up the approach itself. Alright, secondary is set. Let's see. RadNav looks good. Nothing to hard tune there. Initialization B. Let's take a look at this over here. Let's come to our perf data. So I've already loaded up the airplane. And let's make sure we get everything copied over. So we're going to do... I believe I can just hit wait request, right? Yep. There we go. 57.8. 0 fuel weight CG 26.7. Perfect. That is set. And let's go ahead and start getting the service all closed up here. We can get rid of the fuel truck. Let's go ahead and remove... Man, this has happened to me lately. Has this happened to you guys where you just can't remove stuff from the EFB? We'll have to do it from the first officer EFB over here. We'll start closing everything up here. Fuel truck is good. And we don't no longer need the GPU. HD Sim in the house. What's up, V1? Congrats on the 3K subs. I'll be doing this flight in TOLUS 319 soon. Awesome. Yeah, man, I'm excited for the that TOLUS 319 sound pack from BSS. I don't know if you guys watched that video. Somebody linked it in the V1 Discord, and it was looking or sounding very, very good. All right, top altitude on the socks is up to 5,000 feet. And let's go ahead and recycle our flight directors. Beautiful, beautiful. IMDimitri 1971 coming in with another donation, 22.54. As always, thank you for all you do for the hobby and for the Airbus folk. Dimitri, man, you are dedicated, hardcore supporter of the channel. Thank you so much, man. Really appreciate that generous donation. 22 whopping dollars coming in, and he's on vacation too. That's dedication, folks. Thank you, Dimitri. Appreciate it, man. Glad you're enjoying the content. All right, let's run a quick checklist here. Everything else is looking good up top here. And we've got 15,000 set. Let's go over here to our speeds real quick. We are going to do 136, 36, 40 flaps 1 and toga takeoff. We are not going to be doing a toga today off runway 9, or it's a short runway. So we'll keep that just as that looks like that. Perfect. All right, what do we got for checklist here? Pre-flight checklist. Maintenance log and tail number that is on board and checked. Gear pins and covers removed. Signs, they are on and auto. ADIRS, they are navin. Fuel, 6.3 required, 6.8 on board. Altimeters are 29er. Oh, I gotta set those. What did I say? 29er. What was it? 29er86. Set once and set twice. And that copies. Set 3 times. 2986 set. EFB is checked. All right, I've got my browser. I've already got the RNAV loaded up here on the browser, so we'll have that ready to go. We'll keep it on perf data for now. All right, 4-star check is complete. Let's talk to the pushback controller. We're kind of sitting back in an alleyway here. We're going to push to spot 3.
Ground to cockpit. Plan acknowledged. Call me through the menu when you are ready.
I am ready, sir. 4-star checklist, windows, doors, and slides.
Toe is driving up.
Close and arm. Beacon is on. Thrust levers idle. Parking brake is on. Transponder, I should set that. Let's just go ahead and give it a squawk. 2522. Transponder auto. 4-star checklist is complete. We're waiting for the tug driver to come on up here. As he comes through the wall. Beautiful. Let's watch him hook up. Carter Jawol saying, loving the new livery here at V1 Sim, but a part of me still misses the gangsta livery. Yeah, you know what, Cardo? I'm still going to fly the gangsta livery around. I really like it. So, I don't know if you guys missed it. I try to keep drama to a minimum in the V1 Discord.
Okay, all doors and hatches are closed. Ready to connect.
I told Jungly, the guy who did the paint job for the V1 Sim, I said, hey, for the Euro Tour, I really like the look of, what is it, WestJet? Yeah, the WestJet with the orange stripe or whatever. I really like the way that paint job looked with the stripe coming down. So I was like, hey, maybe you could do a rendition of that. So that's what he did. He had like the stripe coming down off the nose of the airplane. It was in gray. He still added a V1 here, did a couple other things to the airplane. But then it just blew up dramatic drama. Somebody said it was copyright because the guy who originally created the WestJet paint job. And I'm like, I don't know what the deal was. So he ended up redoing it. I actually like this one.
So connected and
probably I like this one better. Definitely.
Release parking brakes.
Brakes release, clear to push.
Starting to
so
start, and you may start engine.
That's what he's referring to about the gangsta livery. But I may fly it anyway, every now and then, just so you guys take a look at it. Have a couple different liveries, but anyway, that was just drama in the V1 house. Greetings from Germany, Alvari Air. Oh, you're Saber 908. Nice, man. Thank you, Al. Very good to have you here, buddy. Greetings from Germany. Long way away from DC right now. I'm glad to have you guys here from all over the world. That's what makes this so fun. I mean, you guys are from all over the world. I love it. Toilet Paper says the EFB issues are generally linked to Fly with Lua. Interesting. Dougal in the house saying was watching Captain Canada but cannot miss this. I appreciate the loyalty, Dougal. Thanks, bud. Yeah, I didn't think Captain Canada was originally scheduled to stream today. I thought he was supposed to do last night, so I was set on streaming today, and then I guess he had technical difficulties or something, or just rescheduled, and we'll kind of stream it at the same time. I mean, I don't coordinate with anybody or anything like that, but I try not to schedule a stream when somebody else is streaming, just because I know everybody likes to watch different streamers for different reasons, so just happened to work out this way. But good to have your loyalty, Dougal. Dougal, I gotta ask you too. I know Captain Canada calls you Dougal, or pronounces your name Dougal. How do you pronounce it? Is it Dougal? I guess which would be the American way to say it, or is there a do you pronounce it Dougal from where you are? So let me know. Slam Cannon says I never knew your gangsta livery. Rest in peace. I'll show it at some point, Slam Cannon.
Operation complete. Set parking brake.
All right, brakes release. Brakes set.
Disconnecting tow. Stand by.
Brake set, clear, disconnect. Show me the pin out front. Captain Solid's hilarious drama. Yeah, it was pretty hilarious, man. I basically ended up just posting an all-white Airbus. I said, hey, the new V1 livery, all white. No copyright. But if you guys take a look at Jungle's, I guess I can tell you his name. His name is Chris Shaw. He's a real-life artist out there in Europe, and he does some incredible work. I mean, you're telling me he can't paint a stripe on an airplane? So, if you guys are interested in artwork, definitely check him out. He's linked in the description. He does some really awesome stuff. EasyJet. That's what the livery was. Thanks, Captain Tom. It was the EasyJet knockoff, I guess. Garg says, what is the THS in the perf? This is your trimmable horizontal stabilizer.
Always disconnected. Unbypass pin has been removed. Hand signal on the left. We'll see you next time, and have a safe flight.
All right, thanks for the push. We'll see you next time. So the THS, I've been playing around with the JAR Design 330. We'll talk about that in cruise here a little bit too. But in the narrow body Airbus, this does nothing. You could put a reminder here what you're going to set your trim for, but in the wide bodies, after engine start, it will actually set your pitch trim. But you don't have to do it in this airplane here. We should actually take a look at our trim position is up 0.5. Let's go ahead and fire it up. There's our bleed pressure, starting 1. I think we got a pin out there. There's our pin. Let's listen to this BSS. Man, that sounds good.
Retard.
Nice transfer over. And let's see, are we light today? What's our gross weight? We're 64.6. You guys want to do a single engine taxi? Let's do a single engine taxi. Let's see how it works. I haven't done a single engine taxi in quite some time. So we'll go ahead and turn the APU bleed off. Boom, boom. Let's go ahead and set flaps to position 1. God, I just love the sound of this airplane. When Comrade drops the BSS for Tolis, it's going to be, I can only imagine. I may not go back to work. All right, let's put Digiteer after start. We got everything else is off. We're going to keep the APU on. So if you guys, I haven't done a single engine taxi in a while, but I went over this extensively on my channel. It's in the pilot series. It talks about single engine taxiing and why we keep the yellow electric pump on. And we also want to keep our APU on. That way we can start engine 2 at, after we start the APU bleed. If you don't have an APU, then we do a cross bleed, but we don't have to do that today. We got a functioning APU. We'll go ahead and get our taxi light on. And engine ice is off. The electric pump is on. Rudder trim 0. After start, checklist complete. Up at 0.5. Trim is set. And let's roll. Let's see how this handles taxiing single engine. I haven't taxied single engine in a while. We may have to start engine number 2, but let's give it a shot. Man, that looks good. Whoa, track IR, settle down. Alright, we gotta come out of the alleyway here. Find our way to runway 9er. So it's much easier to taxi in real life single engine than it is in the sim. I don't know if that's a ground friction issue or what, but it seems to be handling it somewhat decent. Although I'm keeping almost full left tiller, which wouldn't be necessary. Let's take a look at our hydraulics page here. Yep, you can see that the electric pump is running. That way we don't have to run the PTU to pressurize the yellow. So that looks good. Rand Cooley says, hi, I found your site via Q8. Awesome. Q8 is pretty freaking sweet, man, with his content that he puts out. So that's cool that he's sharing the love and kind of showing you guys about my channel. That's really awesome. I didn't ask him to do that or anything. That's all on him. So good to have you here, man. All right. Mike Messer says, I'm currently climbing to flight level 370 in the 319 on my way to Orlando. Awesome. Couple of Romanians in the house. The Wolf, how's it going? Alright, this is getting a little bit difficult here to taxi with one engine. Let's go ahead and... Yellow electric pump is off. APU bleed on. Wait for our pressure to bleed up here. This looks really good. How we gotta wait for that pressure. That's very accurate. That's awesome. Alright, there we go, and we go ahead and crank 2. We're crossing an active runway. Oop, engine start lever, not idle, that's my fault. Let's get our lights on as we cross an active runway. I'm having issues with my thrust levers now. What the heck is going on here? Alright, we're going to stop the airplane here for a second. We got to figure out what is going on. Let's go ahead and stop the airplane here. What's going on with my thrust levers? Alright, we got a good start on 2. We can do that. We can reset that. That is off. We could shut the APU and the bleed. This is weird, guys. There we go. I don't know. It's almost like it glitched out. It wouldn't let me move the thrust levers. All right. We got 2 good starts. Let's get moving. Super chat coming in. Jalpino59, $5 donation. Enjoying the content. Really nice work. Fun to use the info I get from you on my sim. Awesome, man. Thanks for that donation. Thanks for supporting the channel. Glad to have you here. Glad you guys are enjoying all this wonderful, wonderful flight sim that we are doing. All right, runway 9er is off to our right here. We're clearing across runway 4 left. Little Miss Haley gets confused when I do my proper lights. All right, there is runway 9er off our right-hand side. We're going to go ahead and stop the aircraft short of the runway. We're going to do a full taxi check just because I missed a lot of stuff there, starting that second engine on the roll. So we're going to do our before takeoff checklist and everything, holding short of the runway. Yeah, you guys are wondering about that 330. I was going to stream it today. I'll probably stream it next time, maybe, if you want to see it. I'll talk to you about it, give you my opinions on it. All right, holding short, runway 9er. Park brake set, taxi light off. Brakes are holding. All right, let's go ahead and do our taxi flows here. We got full up, full down, and neutral, full left, full right, neutral, max, takeoff config, system 1, and that should be an auto, which it is. Everything else looks good. TARA. Flight attendants prepare for takeoff. And then this stupid
Yes,
FAP panel thing. I really don't like this, but that might just be me nitpicking. This is very unrealistic. You don't need that. All right. Takeoff all green. Let's do a before takeoff checklist. Gross weight comparison is complete, 64.5. Pitch trim, 0.5% CG set. V1, VR, V2 flex. We've got 136, 136, 140, and no flex set. Flaps, config, 1+F. Flight instruments are checked. Flight controls, check. ECAM memo, takeoff, all green. ECAM status, check. PWS is auto. TCAS, code set, TRA, captain advised. Mini briefs complete. Runway 9er on the pavement, and we got runway 9er in the box. Fuel, 6 required, 6-7 on board. Engine mode selector is normal. Bleeds and packs are set. Before takeoff checklist complete. Let me just take a look at this fuel real quick. Estimated fuel 3.6. Perfect. All right, let's get out of here, boys.
Retard.
I might have to change that subscribe sound. Thanks for the subscribe, guys. I can't tell who's doing it. I don't have my screen set up properly, but thanks for subscribing. Might have to change that notification sound, though. I keep thinking it's the airplane telling me to retard. All right, runway 9er is set. Nose forward on the stick, 50%. Let's go. Toga, Toga, SRS. Auto thrust blue. This is a big bump right here in real life, crossing that runway. 80 knots thrust set, neutral by 100. V1, rotate. Positive rate. Gear up. We're navving. Watch your ears. Man, that looks good, huh? Last time I flew into Boston, there was actually a ship on fire out here. All right, lever climb. Let's go ahead and get some positive trend on airspeed first.
Retard.
Very funny on the retard again. I'm gonna have to change that. Thanks for the subscribe. Thrust, oops, there it is. Thrust climb, auto thrust. Let's wait for the auto retract coming out of here. There it is. And flap 0 after takeoff checklist. Jungly Sim, hey man, like delivered Jungly Sim in the house. How's it going, man? He is the author and painter of the livery. Let's go ahead and we're gonna do plenty of hand flights. We'll turn the autopilot on so we can just look at this wonderful livery here as we depart Boston. It's a little loud for you guys. I'm gonna turn it down a little bit. Getting ready to enter the clouds. What do we got for OAT? Plus 21, plenty good. Slam Cannon says, are us repo pilots going to get a hold of this livery soon? Ooh, maybe Slam Cannon. I might have to do a landing competition to see who's got the best landing rates, and then might have to share the love on the livery. For this next repo flight, though, I'm going to go ahead and look at all the landing rates from all the previous repos, and then the winner will be able to repo the aircraft. 6.8 climbing out to Fenway, then out to Jester, looking good.
Retard.
Leo Ryan says, try to adjust your rudder sensitivity and curve so the nose doesn't lock up on hard turns. Okay, Leo, that's actually a great idea. I've been wondering about that. I thought that might have just been an X-Plane thing, but I've got some pretty old rudder pedals that I probably need to upgrade. And so I can probably mess with that sensitivity on there and try to get some better curves. That's a good idea. Thanks for that. Coming out of the northeast today, man, I used to fly out here all the time. Pretty hazy though, not much to see. We're tracking on course to Jester, 9.9 out of 10,000 feet. Let's go ahead and turn our lights off. Give the flight attendants little calls, let them know we're at 10,000 feet there.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir. All right, what do we got for climb speed? Let's go perf climb. We're managed 312, huh? That seems a little aggressive. Let's do 300 on the climb out right now. And we get a little better climb rate. Captain Tom, retard on the climb out, best idea. Yeah, man, I wish I could see. I gotta change my alerts over here on the view so I can see who's actually subscribing. But I hear the audio go off, and it's like, all right, Mantoga, SRS, retard. I'm like, whoa. It's probably teaching me negative training, so I probably will I will change that, because the last thing you want to do is ignore call-outs. Dougal says, in reality, roughly what percent takeoffs are full toga? That's a good question, Dougal. And I would say, I would probably go on a limb to say maybe 35% of takeoffs are toga. It's not very common, but it's not abnormal either. And, you know, it really will depend on where you're flying into and out of. Yeah, where you're flying out of, really, not into. It has nothing to do with toga. So it depends on where you're taking off from and the time of year. The most togas I see are probably during the summertime, because it's so hot and the density altitudes are much higher. You really need that performance. In the winter, it's pretty rare to see a toga, unless, of course, you have the several items that require a toga, such as contamination on the runway, wind shear in the vicinity, snow, things like that. So there are certain things that will automatically trigger a toga takeoff, even if your performance data is calling for you to do a flex takeoff. But, you know, say it's just started raining, there was a thunderstorm over the field. Speed alt star, let's go ahead and keep the climb up. 260, no, I believe our final was 280. 280 was the final. Yeah, we'll go 280. DCA 19. So yeah, it just depends, really. So my wife just walked in with our baby. They just got back from the checkup appointment. All right. Aerodynamics, happy landings. Thank you, sir. We're a 15-9er, climbing up to 280. We're not painting anything on the radar. I did fly around in some weather radar. Oh, there it is. That might be some returns out there. So I am very pleased with how the flight factor radar is working. Should have disarmed the spoilers here when we took off. There we go. Just a Dude 0815 says, my last landing was 42.92 feet per minute. That's not bad, right? I could win with that, right? Are you sure 4,200? You don't mean 400 feet a minute? Because 4,000 feet a minute, that's almost, that sounds like an intentional grounding to me. That's pretty hard to do, 4,000 feet a minute. Maybe 400 feet per minute. Abbenhuff Grog says, is there a reason for revving up the engines to 50% first instead of directly going to toga or flex? That is a good question, yeah, and the reason we spool up to 50% is there's a couple real technical reasons I won't get into. I talk about it on the professional series, on the takeoff part. I get kind of the technical and the fan desync and all that. But generally speaking, we want to spool them up to 50%, make sure both engines come alive and that they're stabilized. Now, this kind of stems from old habits from older engines that weren't really FADEC or that weren't FADEC controlled. So you wouldn't want to spool up your engines and then all of a sudden one spooled faster than the other, and then you could have, you know, control issues going down the runway. So rule of thumb is I think that a little bit leaked over into the modern engines with the FADECs, because theoretically speaking, yes, you could go from idle and just firewall the throttles, and the FADEC will control the increase in thrust all the way up to toga and won't have any issues with the engine at all. So, but the main reason is to just make sure, you know, you got oil pressures are green, everything is green. It's just a good check stabilization at 50%, and then we go ahead and give it the full send, either, you know, toga or flex takeoff. But what you don't want to do is slowly creep the throttles forward in the Airbus with a FADEC, and I get into that on that professional series on the takeoff episode. It talks about why you don't want to do that. I really love this V1 on the engines here. Alright, let's pay attention to what we're doing here, because we have a relatively short flight. We're going to prepare for DC. We'll go ahead and pull standard 299 set once, set twice, set 3 times, STDs for you and me. That looks good. We're coming up to 280, 300 knots on the speed.
Retard.
Thanks for the subscribes, guys. You guys are giving it a full subscription service today. I appreciate it. Simone Tomba, V1 Sim. Another good video idea could be over the inner, middle marker, outer markers during approach, or could you just explain it now if you want? Okay, so yeah, I don't know why it's always on by default. Here in the States, we rarely turn these marker knobs on. Real briefly, all the markers are your, for that approach, are set positions on your approach. So the outer marker is going to be your, oh gosh, I have to remember, that's your final approach fix, is your outer marker. And then you're going to have an inner marker, and then, or middle marker, which is a specific set minimums, I believe, and then your inner marker, that's like your 200-foot RA or something like that. I'll have to refresh. I haven't used marker beacons in so long, and in the States, there's actually not very many approaches that still have the markers, the marker audio out anymore. But it does have to do with the type of approach you're shooting and the type of minimums. I know the outer marker is definitely the final approach fix, and I'm pretty sure the inner marker is your inner marker might be 50 foot, and middle marker might be 200 feet. One of the two. It has to do with minimums. So I wish I had a better answer on that for you, man. I apologize, but that's something that I should remember. I haven't used it in so long, it's kind of gone by the wayside. Let's go ahead and turn the seatbelt sign off. Looks like it's going to be a pretty smooth ride today. 24 for 28. I'm going to slow, what do we got for cruise speed here? We might slow it back just a little bit. It's going to be 7.8. Let's do cost index of 20 and cruise. Yeah, that looks better. 7.6 mark. That will give us a little bit more time. We don't have to rush through everything. I'm kind of happy you guys didn't all vote for the long haul. I don't really understand the joy of, at least streaming, from a streaming standpoint, of doing a long haul flight. I think the cruise is kind of the most mundane part, but I do know a lot of you guys like to chat, talk about stuff, so that could be it too. But yeah, the popular vote said we're gonna do Boston to DC, so here we are. Wow, nice reload of the weather there. Dougal, yep, mom and baby are both good. Everything checked out. Everything is looking good. Ed Reed says, is the Flex throttle detent modeled on this livery? Is the Flex a detent Flex throttle detent modeled? You mean like right here? So the flex is right here. Yeah, it is. It does show right there. I don't know if that's what you're talking about. Yes, it is there. Alberto Del Godilo in the house. Hello, everyone. Oh, that's my beagle. Don't mind him. I apologize. He saw a squirrel or something out in the front yard, so don't mind the screaming beagle in the background. Ed Reed says the N1 spool-up stabilization was taught to me years ago, a then brake release. Yep, a lot of N1 stabilization, all that good stuff comes from that 50%. All right. Justin2015, I crashed. I was en route on autopilot, and the plane began to turn, and then it was upside down. That is when I decided to see how it played out. Oh boy, were you in the Airbus? What aircraft were you in? It sounds like a severe failure. It almost sounds like a 737 MAX situation. Maybe not turning upside down, but a trim runaway or something. That's no good. IMDimitri, is there a connection between the registration number and the new baby? Absolutely. Layla is that new baby's name. So that is where that registration comes from. Captain Tom says, see, I had a plane go upside down yesterday, but I didn't let it play out because I didn't want to break my TBM. Oh, yeah, dude. That TBM 900 is freaking awesome. Especially when it comes to... oh boy, my dog just entered my room here. Give me 1 second, guys. I gotta secure this wild beagle. Alright, we're back. Beagles, man, if you guys know anything about beagles, they can be really loud, especially when they see something they want, so I apologize for that. Alright, let's hop back inside here. We'll go ahead and manage up the speed, and let's start looking at our... I know we're far out, but I want to make sure we are set up on the approach. So, what we're actually going to have to do is... Once we get a little bit closer, we're going to have to change the winds in DC. But when we come over here, let's look at our approach. Alright, so this is the published RNAV visual to runway 19er. Zoom in on it, you can see it. So what's really nice and what really is important are these Dme Arcs and altitudes associated. So they're just kind of a reference for the flight crew coming in. Now you can actually draw these out on the Airbus with the fixed info page, but the flight factor nor the TOLUS have a working fixed info page, which is really annoying because that's a page that you use a lot in the real world as well. So I kind of touched on that in that advanced McDo topic or series that I'm working on, but I'm really having a hard time finding more advanced functions that are actually modeled. So unfortunately, we can't draw it out, but just know in the real airplane, you can draw these arcs out. But they're kind of a reference. So we're going to start over here at Fergie, which is a 10 Dme arc at 3,000 feet. And basically from Fergie, all we're doing is following on the river, and we're trying to meet these out. They're not constraints, they're just suggested altitudes. So 1,800 here by 6 DME. Then we're going to be at the 4 DME arc. We want to be right about 1,500 feet. And then 3 DME, 900 feet. And then we basically turn on to the approach. Now, and this is the restricted or prohibited airspace over here. This is the Washington Monument. Or actually, this is the monument, I believe, right here. And then this is the White House area. So this is a very frowned upon area to fly into. And frowned upon as in you'll probably be shot down if you deviate into that airspace. So don't want to be on the left side of the river. As we're coming down here, where the prohibited stuff is going to be on the left-hand side. So you can kind of cheat and stay over the bank. Now, when I would fly this in the smaller Embraers, I would cheat and stay on the bank on the right side. But as you start flying bigger equipment in there, you really do kind of need to stay smack dab in the middle. And as long as you stay in the middle of the river, you're going to be fine. But what you have to worry about, too, is when you're landing 1.9, you're going to have a wind, most likely, out of the south. So that wind is also going to be pushing you towards the restricted area. So I've done it where you've had some severe winds ripping out of the south, and you really you're crabbing almost all the way down the river because you don't want to be blowing off into the prohibited airspace. So it's definitely a fun approach. It can be challenging if you get behind. So hopefully, I haven't flown this approach in a very long time, but hopefully we'll be able to do it today with no issues. If we got to go around, we'll go around. It's not a big deal. Recommended altitudes are for noise abatement. The weather minimums are 3,500 foot ceiling and 3 mile visibility. And vertical guidance is available from the VASI at 3 degrees. So you'll be able to see the VASI as we come here. Now in real life, after you cross the Rochambeau Bridge, there's a highway that kind of turns, and you'll see it as we fly into DC. And basically what you're looking for is you want to turn and line up with the road, and that'll line you up with the runway. So I'll talk you through it as we go down the approach. But we're going to be hands-off. We're not going to load the RNP. You can see some RNP fixes here, Grays and set-talk. But the RNP is cheating. We want to do it full visual, hand-flowing. So a couple of notes. River Visual 1.9er. Aircraft may visually follow the river to the airport or may proceed via the RNP and then follow the river to the airport. So prohibited area, P56. Avoid from surface to 18,000 feet. So that's kind of our approach briefing. We'll talk about it. Get back into here, back to some of these comments here. Sam Cannon says, I always see Airbus pilots go through the throttle detents to flex or toga pretty quickly. I assume the computers are taking care of the throttles, so no use in pushing the throttles up slowly. Correct. Slam Cannon, that is absolutely correct. You don't want to be slowly manipulating the throttles. And you get guys that come over from different aircraft, such as the MD-80 or the 7.3, and they really want to slowly advance the throttles. No, you can't do that. You got to go spool them up 50% and then put them in their detents and let the FADEC control the spool up, because you don't want to have, you can get a severe fan flutter if you start messing with the spool up time. So let the FADEC control it 50% and give it a full send. Outside 7 dog in cockpit. Yeah, we had a dog in the cockpit. We kicked him out, though. We're good now. Technical Aviator says, I like to fly from Boston to Washington, D.C. and back because you see all 4 major East Coast cities if the weather's clear: Boston, New York, Philly, and D.C. Absolutely. It's funny, I used to be based on the East Coast, so I would fly out here all the time. And so when I get home to flight sim, the last thing I want to do is fly out east. I'd rather fly out west. But Carter Jawal says, my sister had a beagle. Great dogs. Yes, they are. They are great dogs. I love beagles. I got a couple of them. Keeming Ninja Sheep defending the baby from the evil squirrels. Yep. Yeah, you can't even say the word squirrel around my dogs, man. They freak out. Leo Ryan says, no VATSIM. No VATSIM today, unfortunately. I'm still working on setting it up. I gotta set it up and make sure it's all working properly. But hopefully we'll start flying out west again. We'll do some more Pilot Edge. I really prefer the Pilot Edge over VATSIM audio, but we're gonna have to do it anyway. So, all right, I'm pulling up the weather here on my phone. So if you guys want, you guys probably already have your own weather apps, but there's actually, you can text Flight Service Station if you're in the United States. You just type in MT and then the airport identifier, and it'll bring up the weather. So right now, DCA is showing wind 010 at 13. We might try to land it with a tailwind. I know they do that in DC sometimes. They really push the limits because they don't want to switch around and go north flow on you. Temperature is 31. It's toasty down there. You may have to flip the reins around. short runway to QNH is going to be 2983. Alright, so there is no minimum for this approach, so we're not going to put anything in the MDA. There are no minimums. We're going to land config full, VLS 133, that looks good. Secondary, we'll just go ahead and copy the active for right now. And RadNav, we're actually going to use, I know we never really used the RadNav page, today we're going to use it. We are going to hard tune the DCA VOR, which is 111.0, which we actually properly tune it by the identifier. Boom. So now I will have hard tuned here. Now I don't know why it says FOC. Hopefully that will change when we get in a little bit closer and get in range to DCA. Alright, it was probably because that frequency is closer. There's somebody here, 111.0. But alright, we got our RadNav tuned in there. Performance data is set. We're going to descend at 7.8 and 300 knots. That is set. And the approach has been set, so we are looking good. Alright, now we can just give it a minute and relax and get back to some of these comments. 35, 3.8. Perfect. Looks like our Modena is going to be close to our top of descent there. You can see that descent arrow. And actually, let's do one more thing. Let's go into plan mode. And let's go down to Fergie. Here's Fergie. And what we want to do, according to the chart, Fergie is pretty much right at the 10 Dme arc, which is recommended altitude of 3,000 feet. So I'm going to, for reference, put in a 3,000 foot altitude constraint at Fergie, just so I could start out on the right path anyway. So we've got Fergie set for 3,000 as a reference so I don't mess it up, because there is no ATC. So I got to play ATC, I got a vector, I got to do everything. But we'll get it done, no problem. We can see DCA out there about 240 miles. Perfect. Simone Tumba, I missed a lot of comments. Let me just catch up here. Did you watch Comrade's video on the toeless BSS pack? Yes, I did, and I couldn't be more excited, man. It sounded so amazing. Just that hearing the power switch over and the fans running their high-load test, just, it's going to be the best sounding airplane in X-Plane. I'm going to just say it right now. I know it will be. It's going to be the best sounding airplane in X-Plane when that drops. Mustafa says flight factor or toeless. Get that question all the time, man. Mustafa, right now, I'm just going to say it, I prefer the flight factor, but when the sound pack drops for the toeless, we're going to revisit that question. We're going to do a full-blown, in-depth video about both aircraft. So right now, Mustafa, flight factor, because the sounds are so immersive. I feel like I'm actually flying an Airbus. Leo Ryan says, get Swift and XCSL. You will love flying online. Perfect aircraft clamping from all sims and shiny models. Swift has more features than even vPilot and other softwares, really. I did hear about Swift, and I believe Q8 Pilot has a video on it that I am going to watch. I'll probably end up setting, hopefully, guys, I can set it up for you this week so we can have some VATSIM for the end of this, by the end of this week, but we'll see. The week is already getting close to ending, and we got some more family coming into town on Friday, so I'll see what I can do. Ed Reed, there we go, shouting out the METAR. Perfect, thank you, sir. Cubs win says, I believe DCA has the shortest runway in the nation. I know it's got some short ones, definitely. DudeMan24 says, I live on Long Island and it's raining a ton right now. Ooh. And we're flying over some rain. Outside 7V1 prefers the toeless, although he doesn't admit it openly. Yeah, I do love the toeless, man. I tell you what, I want the toeless to be the best Airbus in the sim, and I think it will be. I honestly think the toeless will be the best Airbus that we have in the simulator. It's just going to need that FMGC update on 1.4, and then that BSS sound pack, and hey, we're gonna have the best airplane, best Airbus in the sim. Plus, toeless has Probably the best customer support on any aircraft I've in X-Plane as well. FlightJ Sim's got some good support too, but in my opinion, Flight Factor is the worst when it comes to customer support. So there's also that to take into account. Dimitri says you could probably do a lateral revision based on DCA and the DMEs on the approach chart. A lateral revision off of DCA and the DMEs. Yeah, you know what? Probably could. But the problem with that is I don't know what bearing I would use off of DCA. We could shoot out yeah, but then we'll have waypoints showing on here, and that will mess with our centerline fix that I want to use as a reference as well. You see the centerline fix draws out there for us as well. So this is one of those situations where I really wish I had that fixed info page. But yeah, you could, in theory, heck, you could even create custom waypoints and put them out here. But then it's just going to clutter up the ND, and I prefer to either just fly it legit visually or have my fixed info page do it properly. I don't want to clutter up the ND too much, but yeah, what we would do, we'd go to fix info, we'd go ahead and throw in DCA, and then we'd throw radials, or let's see, I'm sorry, we'd throw radius 10 DME, and we should draw a 10 DME arc around DCA, but it's just not working properly, so it is what it is. Got the beautiful Matavia mod on the wings as well. Man, it looks good. Pedro Gonzalez says, "Hi V1, I've been learning a lot lately with your videos. How do you get the external view of the front of the plane when parking? Greetings from Spain." The front, you mean just like the outside view? So I hit left shift and number 4, which kind of brings you into a free look mode here, and you right click and drag and you can pan around the camera. So I kind of use that to cheat sometimes. Looks nice down there through the clouds. I use that sometimes to cheat when parking, if there's no auto gate or anything like that. Mr. Papakilo says, oh, Mr. Papakilo, excuse me, said the PTU in operation during flight. Is this the indication of a problem with the hydraulic system? Yes. If your PTU is working in flight, you definitely have something going on, because if you got both engines running, you're going to have your engine-driven pumps. You can see right here. Both of them are running, pressurizing 3,000 PSI, and the blue system, which this can vary on Airbus to Airbus too. They're not all just green, blue, and yellow. There's some older Airbuses that have a different hydraulic layout, or different colors, I believe. But this is the most common that I've seen. The blue system here has got its own electric pump, which is running. So there should be no reason your PTU is pressurizing. If it starts going off, that means you're losing pressure in one of your systems, and that's not good. So Sean Stevens says on the TOLUS, once the TOLUS MCU update comes out, it'll be a no-brainer. I am inclined to agree with you there, Sean Stevens, but I don't want to set my hopes too high and then be disappointed. But I'm inclined to agree with you there. I really do think that you're onto something. Dougal says Swift is a bitch to set up, but well worth the effort. Yeah, I'm 90% sure Q8 actually has a video that I will watch on setting up Swift client. Denali Aviation says V1 are pilots able to share what airlines they fly for. Yeah, you can. I just prefer not to, because not like in person. If I were to met you in person, yeah, I got no problem. But just over the internet, it's not really. I know Flight Deck to Sim does the same thing. He doesn't really openly discuss who you work for. It's just you never know who's watching, and it's kind of a not that I'm doing anything wrong by any means. You just don't want to put yourself in a bad situation. So I ignore all questions regarding
Require
that.
AFE information Romeo.
But meeting somebody in person, yeah, I got no problem. You can tell everybody. You can
070
tell
at 6.
you work for no problem.
Visibility 3.
We need to get rid of McGuire Air Force Base. We don't want to listen to that. Dougal says they're an amazing bunch and told us they care that we care. Absolutely, Dougal. Absolutely. And if you guys been around the channel long enough, you know that when the Flight Factor first came out, I actually made some pretty in-depth posts and bug reports, and I ended up getting banned from the forum because they didn't want to hear it. They said that, oh, it's blah, blah, blah. You don't know anything. You don't even know what you're talking about. You're not a pilot, blah, blah, blah. And I eventually just gave up the fight. I was like, okay, whatever. Not worth my time. I wish I never bought the airplane. Now, when the TOLUS came out, I did kind of the same thing. I reviewed, and I did a full review, and TOLUS' approach was actually to message me privately and say, hey, I saw your video about this. What do you think about this? And okay, maybe we could change that. How did you come to this conclusion? They actually were open and talking about the aircraft and my observations and what their observations were or assumptions were, and there's so many different ways to do the same thing on an Airbus, guys, and so it's not that one way is right, one way is wrong. It's just there's a lot of differences of opinions, and that can get lost in conversation. But anyway, the point is that TOLUS was very open, and they actually came forward and made some really nice changes to the flight model, especially in the alternate law phase. The alternate law behaves really, really nice in the TOLUS now, better than the Flight Factor. So that's what you get when you buy a TOLUS product. You know you're going to have that support on your side. Sean Stevens says DCA has the RNAV 19er that mimicked the River. Yes, Sean Stevens, it sure does. But I'm not actually going to load the RNAV today. I might do another potion at DC. We'll do the RNAV. But I just want to show you guys a full-blown visual approach. We're going to turn off the automation. I will keep the auto thrust on for this one just because I'm feeling a little bit rusty and I'm nervous. I don't want to make a fool out of myself. But yeah, you could fly without the auto thrust. But this one, generally speaking, you probably keep the auto thrust on because it gets very busy. I mean, both crew members you're really checking your altitudes, you're checking your lateral deviation over the river. So there's a lot to pay attention to, and just using that automation to help you with the auto thrust is a big load off your shoulders and a big reduction in workload. So it's much safer to do it that way. But you know me, I love turning off the auto thrust and just having the manually flying. The Airbus fly is great without any automation. Marshall Arbitman says, hi, and thanks for the very useful videos. One question, what would you say to my retired American airline pilot friend who's a Boeing snob about Airbuses and hand flying? Well, he's probably a Boeing snob because he's never flown an Airbus. If he's flown an Airbus and he's still a Boeing snob, then that's his own problem. No, I don't know. I mean, Boeing, there's nothing wrong with Boeing, guys, other than they killed a bunch of people and not going to be held accountable for it. So, I mean, they kind of are now, but they're still getting bailouts, so with orders, which is bullshit. But there's nothing wrong with the 737-700 or 800 even, or even the 900. There's really nothing wrong with it. It's just a different aircraft. And from a hand-flying point of view, when you talk about hand-flying Boeing, you're not hand-flying like a lot of people think. You're not manipulating the controls yourself. When you turn the control column left, you're not actually turning the aileron left. You're pulling on rods and pistons that will move hydraulic fluid, which will move the surface for you. Whereas in the Airbus, when you move the stick left, the computer is going to demand that the pistons move the hydraulic fluid to the left aileron. So yes, there is an extra step with the fly-by-wire because you got the computer telling the hydraulics to move, but in a Boeing, you're moving the hydraulics as well. It's not like you're connected to the airplane like a lot more old school aircraft were, where you actually had a series of rods and cables and pulleys that were physically connected to the flight control surface. as far as I'm aware, the NG 737s it's all hydraulic. It's not even like if you lost all hydraulics in the 737, you couldn't fly any more than you could fly the Airbus. So the hydraulics are the lifeblood of any modern aircraft. Dougal says, after getting Tolos, I simply can't go back in the Flight Factor cockpit. Yeah, man. Ooh, I hear some rain outside. We must be flying over a rainstorm. All right, how are we looking on top of descent here? We are about 60 miles top of descent. We don't want to be left high. We don't want to get carried away here, so we'll keep an eye on that. Everything else is looking good. Looking good. All right. Let's see.
Retard.
Somebody subscribed to V1 when he's at 60 feet. Oh, that's mean. That's mean, guys. Arbenhoff Garg says, what's the correct way of aligning the IRS on a turnaround? Do we do a reline of the IRS or continue from present position? So it depends on where you work. You probably will have different procedures. But generally, you can do a quick realign, which you just turn off and back to nav, all three ADIRs within 10 seconds. If you go off nav, off nav, off nav, or actually the proper way to do it is off nav, off nav, off nav. Because if you look here, this is IR1, IR2, and IR3 is in the middle. So a lot of guys just go left to right. But if you want to be technical, you would go 1, 2, 3. But if you do that to all three, you'll do a quick realign, and that will realign you. So some operators require a quick realign on every leg. Some don't. Some, you just come down here and you would check your drift. So you come to your position monitor and you would check your IRS drift, make sure it was all within limits, and if your operator says that you can go, then you can go. Some operators may actually require a full realignment. So you turn them off and then turn them back on and do a full realignment. So it just depends on the operator that you work for. But I would say most commonly you're going to see a quick realign. Carter says, oh yeah, Tolos is great. I really hope the rumors of them doing a 321 are true. I really do want to see a 320 X-Plane, a good one. Yeah, Carter, I'm right there with you, man. I'm right there with you. I'd love to see a nice 321. And especially because, they are similar, well, they are very similar airplanes. I mean, the 20 and 21, it is the same airplane essentially, other than its size. But they do fly differently. And what is so nice about the 319 and the 320 is even in the sim, they fly differently. Like you fly around in the Flight Factor 320 and then you fly around on the Tolos 319, you can tell a difference. And the 319 feels like that in real life as well. So the 321 would be the same situation, just in reverse order. You'd be going from a 321 to a 320, or you could fly the 319 and then hop into a 321, and you should really feel the difference. So that would be exciting to see in X-Plane. IMDimitri says, I'm pretty sure it'll be another greaser Captain K. Well, I hope so, man. We're going to try. Ed Reed says, please like. This is one of, if not the most accurate flying on YouTube. I appreciate that, Ed Reed. Yeah, guys, I'm not one to always say, smash the like button and subscribe, because I figure that if you guys like the content, you'll go ahead and like it yourself. But yeah, man, I'm right there with Ed Reed. If you liking this content, go ahead and hit the like button. I have a bad habit of forgetting to say that. So thank you, Ed Reed. Ed Reed looking out. Good to have Ed Reed in the house. Captain Tom says, nothing wrong with Boeing other than killing a bunch of people. End quote. Yeah, I agree, man. Sam Cannon asked me, if you were forced to, what modernish Boeing airliner would you be willing to transfer to? Man, do they have any ground controller I could transfer to? No, I'm just kidding. Oh man, a modern Boeing. I guess. I mean, what modern Boeing is there other than the 7.5? I would choose the 7.5. That would be my choice. If it had to be a modern Boeing, I would definitely choose the 757. I really like the 7.5. That's a great airplane. I don't fly it in an X-plane very much at all. I haven't flown. I can remember last time I flew the Flight Factor 7.5. Going D3 says, greetings from Albuquerque Center. A friend of mine just got a job flying for Spirit. Looking forward to learning more about these buses. Awesome, man. That's exciting news. He's going to love the Airbus. Marco Nasty says, but the 737 can be flying in manual vision, but that's only Boeing aircraft currently in production that can do it. Well, Marco, the Airbus can also be flown in manual vision. So you can actually fly the aircraft with differential thrust levers and your trim wheel without the stick. So we actually train it. The Airbus can do manual vision as well. Go into direct law, it'll say use man pitch stream only. And if you lost your hydraulics, you could still use manual revision mode. So that is not true. The Airbus can do it as well. Marshall says, does the Airbus 5R still require cross-controlling in a crab? I thought I saw somewhere that it removes roll coupling on rudder use. You know, Marshall, it is a little awkward when you're dealing with heavy crosswinds. You can get into an issue where if you're trying to fly it in, let's go ahead and set up a descent here, 10,000 feet real quick before we get behind, 19 miles out. So it can get a little funky in a really strong crosswind if you try to cross-control it. So the best way, and the way that we do it, is you just fly the crab all the way down to the runway, and then as you're getting ready to flare, you kick that rudder in and get the wing down, so you get a nice smooth landing, symmetrical, and you're not side-loaded. But there is, I don't want to give you false information, but I know that does sound familiar. There is something with roll coupling on the landing phase, or maybe the approach phase in the modeling, where it only lets you cross control a few degrees. So if you have a severe enough wind, it would actually neutralize your cross control. But you shouldn't be cross controlling an airliner anyway. It doesn't matter if it's an Airbus, Boeing, Embraer. Well, let's take away Embraer, because you can cross control Embraers all you want. They're little hot rods. But you shouldn't be cross controlling an airliner anyway. So the proper way to crosswind land a transport category aircraft is to fly that crab down and then go ahead and straighten it out over the touchdown zone. Super chat, Rand Cooley coming in, $5 donation, man. Awesome. Good channel, learned a great deal just listening to this stream. Oh, Rand, I'm so happy to hear that, man. That's what I'm here for. If you guys stop learning, then I'm not doing my job. I want you guys to be learning every time you watch and enjoy the content. So I'm glad to hear that. Thank you for that $5 donation, man. Thank you so much. All right, we're approaching 5 prior. We're actually close to 10 prior. Let's go ahead and start our descent down. We are in speed descent mode. Let's go ahead and get our seatbelt signs on. Transponder can go into below mode. And are we close enough to DC here to see what's going on? I'm gonna have to change the winds, I'm pretty sure. We'll deal with that as we get a little bit closer. Garg says, thanks a lot for answering all the questions. Really love your videos, and they're helping me learn a lot. Awesome. I'm glad you guys are learning. I love teaching, so I'm renewing my instructor certificate right now. You got to renew it every 2 years. And I'm due to renew it, so I'm in the process of renewing that as well. Even though I don't actively use it, I just don't want to let it expire. If you let your instructor certificate expire, then if you ever do want to teach again, you have to do an extensive check ride, and you can get pretty gnarly. So. All right, we're starting down. Ed Reed says, thanks for the comment, but you deserve it. Thanks, man. Appreciate it, Ed Reed. Dougal says, can you put modern and Boeing in the same sentence? Modern-ish. That's what Slampkin says, yeah. All right, thrust idle. We are starting down. Everything is looking good. I want to take a look outside. Yeah, that looks good. Hopefully the weather will cooperate. Let's do another updated METAR. DCA. 10 miles few at 3,500. Broken at 9 or 1,000. Winds 360 at 9. Ooh, so we have a 10 knot tailwind. All right. Or 9 knot. Technically, we can land with up to a 10 knot tailwinds. So we're going to go ahead and try to do it, guys. We are going to be, this is going to be the ultimate, you know, pickle scenario where you're landing in Washington National, you're on the river visual. It calls for 3,500 foot ceilings. We've got 3,500 foot broken, essentially.
Retard.
And we've got a 9 knot tailwind, which 1 knot more than that would be illegal to land. So, this is the ultimate pickle situation. This is where you get paid. This is why you get paid what you get paid, is to be able to perform an approach like this and keep everybody safe in the back. So, when everything is not in your favor, you still have to perform. So I'm going to leave the weather as is. We'll go ahead and put it down. If it gets crazy down there, if it starts gusting or whatever, we're going to execute a go around. I'll show you how to do that, and then we'll set up for an approach on runway 1. But we're going to give it a shot anyway, guys. Super chat donation $2. JBads Realm, thank you so much for that, man. No text with that super chat, JBads. So I don't know if you were gonna wanted to say something there, but thank you so much for your donation, man. I don't see any message with that though, unfortunately. So if you want to say something, go ahead and post it up. But I don't see anything with your chat message there. Carter Joel says V1 is going off to join Sierra Pacific Airlines so he can fly the 73200s. Yes, Carter, sign me up, man. I'd leave the Airbus and go fly the 200 right now if I say that, but same quality of life, and if I could be home based and have the same amount of days off, yeah, I might do it. What the heck? But yeah, 73200, that's a good airplane. Captain Tom says, my cousin who flies buses for Americans says the Airbus can get squirrely in a crosswind. It sure can. Get squirrely in a crosswind and a quartering tailwind. Definitely gets a little bit squirrely. This is going to be a squirrely approach. So what I'm going to do is actually... yeah, we're leveling 10,000. Okay. I'm going to get down a little bit early because just like in real life now, if you're coming in on this approach and now you've added, you're stacking the cards against you here with a 10 knot tailwind and low ceilings, we got to do something ahead of time to put more cards in our favor. So what we're going to do is we're going to descend earlier and we're going to set up for the approach. We're going to configure earlier. That way all we have to do is focus on flying. We don't have to focus on configuring. So I'm probably going to configure a little bit earlier, but I would do it in real life as well. We gotta help ourselves out when we're stacked, the odds are stacked against us. Slave Candidate, how to technology? End quote from the Boeing CEO. Oh man, you guys are brutal. OT says, hey V1, looks like I made it just in time to catch the approach to my home airport. I'll be going on this very flight from Boston to DCA tomorrow. Oh, sweet, man. Good to hear it, OT. Hope you have a good flight. If you're in the Discord, send pics too. If you got our, if you're in the V1 Discord. All right, what did I say the altimeter was? 2983. We'll go ahead and set 83 there. So 83 is set. 1, 2, 3. We've got DCA DME 58. Everything is looking good. Everything is looking good. VincentCrump coming in with another $50, a whopping donation. Thank you, sir. That is so generous of you. Thank you very much. Thanks for sharing your knowledge. I really enjoy your streams. Keep up the good work. VincentCrump, thank you so much for that donation, man. Really appreciate it. VincentCrump, another longtime supporter of the channel. Thank you so much, Vincent. I'm glad you're enjoying the content. You're still enjoying it. That's good. As long as you guys are still enjoying it, that means I'm not getting boring. I don't want it to be boring. Every time I stream, I want you guys to be engaged and enjoy the content. So thank you so much, Vincent. Denali Aviation says, how do you begin the descent on VNAV and not just open? That's what we're in right now. We're in just in des mode or descent mode. You push the altitude knob forward. Now to take control or open descent, which I'm going to do right now, is I'm going to pull the knob. So if I pull that, you see the dot goes away, and now the aircraft goes thrust idle, open descent mode, and it's going to pitch for 300 knots at thrust idle. So this is your fastest way down in this configuration. It's going to pitch for 300. We're going to take it down to 10,000. We're actually going to get below our VNAV path, which is totally fine because we're going to get down early and we're going to set up early for this approach. Try to get to a couple more of these questions, guys, and then I'm going to have to be all eyes inside here pretty soon. Douglas says, fly jump seat in the 732 and even noisy in the cockpit. Yeah, it is pretty noisy in the 732s. Ed Reed coming in on the CTAF. Thanks, sir. 1417 Zulu. 310 at 10. Rain showers broken at 3,000. Ooh, so technically we're below minimums. Weather minimums at 3,500. Oh boy. We're gonna do it anyway. All right, 13.3 descending at a 10,000. Everything looks good. Let's close this up a little bit. And once we hit 10,000, we're going to slow to 250 and then start an open descent down immediately to 3,000 feet. Alright, let's go ahead and set up for our approach check. I've been looking at all these comments here. Let's go ahead and set up. We got everything set up in the box here. No MDA. It's going to be a visual approach. If we got to go around, we're going to just go Mantoga. We're going to go straight out up to 3,000 feet. We'll vector ourselves back around for runway 1. We're not going to need LS push buttons today. We've got DCA hard tuned in the RadNav page. We're going to go medium brakes, full reverse, full flaps. A320 for tail strike avoidance. Any questions? No questions. All right. It's time to pucker up, boys. Lights are coming on. Help us slow down here a little bit. All right. Let's reset the cameras. Reset my track IR. Okay, there's 10,000. The aircraft is slowing down. I'm going to go ahead and help it slow down with some half speed brakes. Speed alt star. Oops. Nope. Push title open descent 250 below 10. 10 knot buffer there. We're good. Everything is coming down. I'm going to forget this taxi light. You guys know the procedure when you're with ATC though. So since you know ATC, I'm just going to turn it on. Alright, we need to get down right now and actually sense. Well, let's see. The ceilings were. What do we got? Let's see. What is X-Plane saying? .340 at 14. Oh boy, let's see. So runway 19er, and the winds are 340. So it is almost, it's a quartering tailwind at 10 knots. Jeez. If this was real life, this is when the airliners would start being like, yeah, we're unable to accept that due to winds. Once they get about 2 or 3, we can't accept it because of the winds, they start turning the airport around. I mean, they'll do it anyway, but when the airliners start denying approach clearances because of the wind direction, it lights a fire under their butt. All right, we're IMC. We're plus 12 or plus 23 on the TAT, so we're looking good. No need for the anti-ice. 6.7 descending 3,000. Big Ace came and asked, what are the flap speed? 137 knots, or is 137? No, flaps full, 177. Yeah, 177, flaps full is your max speed. Looks like we're going between layers here. 5.8 now. The Gruden says, hey everyone, is there any limit to using the bird mode? I find manual landing is easier, even during landing approaches. No limit, Gruden. I'm actually going to use the bird on this approach. What he's referring to, guys, is the flight director mode. If you toggle this heading track to vertical speed FPA, you'll get what's known as the bird. And if you want to do a 3-degree glide path, basically you just put the tail of the bird right below the horizon, and that'll give you 3 degrees. So I'm going to switch over to the bird when we disconnect the autopilot to aid myself in a descent profile. Alright, 4 descending 3,000. I'm going to immediately dial the speed back to 180 knots. There's the river. Speed alt star. 180 on the speed, please. Alright, once we hit Fergie, we've got our altitudes that we want to meet. 3,000 at 10, 1,800 at 6. So let's go ahead and configure. I'll probably not be looking at the comments here for a little bit, guys. I apologize. DCA is over yonder. VFNX -10, the flaps 1. Let's also go ahead and activate from the approach phase, unless I forgot to do that. That is set. VFE next, -10, flaps 2. We'll stow the spoilers or speed brakes. Fergie is out there, Darcy. Alright. Alright, let's go ahead and vector ourselves back around here. We're going to go heading mode. Wait, let's see. That was the wrong river. Disregard, disregard. Want to make sure you follow the right river. There's DCA over yonder.
2,500.
Alright, how we looking? Laps 2, 180, everything looks good. You could see why the cloud restriction is 3,500 feet. Man, I love that Matavia wing. The dirt coming off the hinges there. Alright, that's the river we want to follow. Make sure you follow the right river, guys, when you do the river visual. Just a pro tip for you. Cap Tom says, we're going to do it anyway. That was me yesterday in the TBM, and I almost died in some really bad storms. Yeah? We're going to do it anyway, Cap Tom. We'll see. Hey, if we got to go around, we go around, right? Power and Attitude says your streams are absolutely brilliant. Brilliant. Your style and delivery superb. I'm learning a lot. Currently studying for my CPL and instrument procedures. You are helping me a lot. Thanks. Heart and Attitude, thank you so much, man, for those kind of words. I really appreciate it. Best of luck to you studying for that CPL and instrument. Nice to have a fellow aviator in the house. OT says it's pretty common to see the planes going around DCA, especially on the river visual. At least 2 a day. Yeah, they do go around on the river visual, especially when the winds aren't cooperating. Alright, so what I'm going to do is, after we cross Fergie, and we're gonna kind of make almost a 120 degree turn back left here to rejoin the river. I'm just gonna go ahead and set 4,000 on the altitude, so I have that as a reference, and I'll be hand flying all the way down. So Hugo says the river's that color, it'd be much easier to follow. Yeah, I know, and I still almost followed the wrong one. Wouldn't you know it? I don't know why my rivers are this color anymore. I don't know if it's an X-Vision thing or what, but I feel like my water is kind of crappy. Okay, moment of truth. Track IR is coming on. We're going to go ahead and go bird mode. Disengage the autopilot from the stick. Flight director's off. I'm going to set 4,000. And we're going to follow the river. Let me get this back up for you guys. So we want to be at 6 miles from DCA. We want to be at 1,800. So I'm going to start a shallow descent, 3 degrees. I'll keep those screens popped up for you so you can see them. Unless you guys don't want them, let me know. But I find it easier to see kind of what I'm doing when I have the screens popped up for you. Or easier for you guys, I mean. Alright, our DME, I'm looking at DME, guys. I'm looking at it right here on the ND. We're 9.1 miles from DCA. Our first window we're looking to meet is 1,800 at 6 miles. I'm going to go ahead and push for managed speed. Lower the landing gear. VFUNX minus 10, flaps 3. And we're following the river. Alright, here's 1,600 feet, just about 6 miles. We're looking good. VFUNX minus 10, the flaps full. The landing check. Cabin crew advised, auto thrust is in speed mode. ECAM memo. We got the... Alright. Landing all green. Landing check is complete. Good to land. We're following the river now. So we met 1,800 at 6. We're looking at 1,500 feet at 4 miles. So we're a little bit low. We'll go ahead and level out here just a little bit. We'll shallow our descent.
Retard. 1,000.
Make sure we're staying over the center of the river. Tad bit low. We're looking for 900 feet at 3 mile DME. We can start coming back down. Now this is where it really freaks out the passengers. If you guys look out the right hand side right here, and you'll start seeing all those buildings right off your right side. Alright, there's 3 miles. We're approaching 900 feet. Let's see if we can take a look out the right hand side. So yeah, these buildings right here, this is what freaks people out. But this is the correct sight picture. That's what you want to see. All right, let's get back into it. We don't want to go over the river to the left. See that? So we'll go ahead and get our bank in there. See, we're hugging the left shoreline now, which a little bit uncomfortable. We don't want to be touching that P56 restricted area.
500.
All right, here comes our last bridge at 500 feet. We're looking good, and we're going to turn right to line up with that road. You see that road making a hard right turn there?
400.
That's what we want. 22 knot tailwind? Are you serious? Oh, boys. This would be a go-around in real life just because of the winds.
200.
You would definitely be going around in real life, so look at that. Right on. One red, one white. Oh my gosh, this tailwind might push us off the end of the runway. We're going to have to
50,
put her down.
40, 30, 20. Retard. Retard 5.
20 knot tailwind. We'll take that 315. 70 knots. Whew, we are down. I'm not gonna lie, that tailwind there freaked me out a tad bit. So that's why I just set her down. 315 feet per minute. Hey man, welcome to DCA with a 20 knot tailwind. Completely illegal approach. But hey, the point is for the stream viewers to see the river visual. So I consider that a success. And we're still alive. Brake side E-cam shouldn't come on until after the landing phase as rollout's completed. Alright, we are on the ground. Let's go ahead and reconfigure. Welcome to Washington, D.C. Alright, get our PWS off. Everything else looks good. Whew! The V1 bird is down. It was firm, but we were down. Don't ask me to do that in real life with 20 knot wind. Yeah. Alright, we've got flap open message there. Let's fire up the APU. Make sure we're waiting for our cooldown time. 3-minute cooldown on the bus. I was hoping it would be just a tad bit darker so the lights would be on. Like that. That's what I was hoping for. We're going to make our left turn in the next alley here. APU is available.
Retard.
Thanks for the subscribes, guys. I was waiting for that retard to come in over the on short final there. I probably could have held it a little bit longer, but hey, it is what it is. We'll kill the taxi light. Got our gate straight ahead. Parking right between these two Americans. Gate 44 looks good. Safety zone's clear. We should have 2 other marshalers out here on the wings. Talk to me, dude. There we go. Money. Brake is set. APU is available. Fuel engine 1. Seatbelt sign. And engine 2. Or I said that backwards. It was engine 2, then engine 1. APU bleed, waiting for 10% N1. Air bleed fault, that's just a nuisance warning coming on there. 10% N1. Let's go ahead and kill the lights. Beacon lights coming off. Well, folks, there you have it. Welcome to Washington National. All right, let's take a look at this replay. I'm a little ashamed that we were in the 300s on that touchdown, but hey, man, we're going to revisit it again. Oops, real view comes off. There we go for the replay. All right, let's take a look at this instant replay. Back it up. Back it up a little bit more. This is good. Let's watch it from the engine here. We'll kind of flip around. All right, let me get back to some of these comments. Some Ken says you can always go around when it don't look right coming down. That's right. Bolter. Nah, no bolter. We were actually well within limits on the approach. I mean, we were 2 reds, 2 whites, and everything was good there. It was just that 20 knot tailwind, guys. That is cooking. Your landing rollout is going to be extremely increased with that. But this is the view here that freaks out all the passengers as we come over these buildings. There we go. That's where everyone's like, oh man, we're going to crash. But that's what it's supposed to be. Following the river here, you can see as you come over the island, this is where you tend to get blown over. There's the Washington Monument. So you really got to keep it tight here. And if you have a south wind that's pushing you, there's 20 knot south wind, then you really got to be crabbing over. There's a look at the White House, the Washington Monument. Aerodynamics says tea and biscuits with the chief pilot once the FDM data is processed. Yeah, there's going to be a chief pilot phone call on this one. They say, hey, why'd you have a 20 knot crosswind? Or 20 knot tailwind. Let's see, does it have my ground speed in here? No, it doesn't actually. I was wondering what my ground speed was. But look at that rollout. Let's take a look at that. Look at that rollout. 2 reds, 2 whites, right on the center line. Well, these trees aren't this high in real life, I don't think. It's a little sketchy. Let's go back to the runway. Let's watch this touchdown. A little bit of a correction there. That quartering tailwind pushing you across. That wasn't too bad. I mean, well within the zone. That didn't look nearly as firm as it said it was. There's my wonky rudder control on touchdown. Let's back it up just a little bit. Let's see that again. Oops, too far. Well, that's a cool shot with the monument in the background. Right on the glide path. Alright, I want to, boom, right on the first markers. Heck, I'll take that. I'll take that any day a week and twice on Sunday with that kind of wind. I wanted to look at this touchdown one more time, though. It didn't look like it was that firm. HD Simulation says best approach of X-Plane 11 by V1 with 20 knots tailwind. Good job, bro. Thanks, HD. Appreciate it. Captain Tom's heading out of here. I'm going to go fantastic stream once again. Thank you, Captain Tom. Thanks for stopping by. All right, let's look at this touchdown here. I flared it out. 300? What? How is that 300? I think X-Plane might be cheating me a little bit. One more shot here. Oh, I don't know about that being 300, but hey, we're down. All right, we'll look at one more, guys, and then we will call it. back it up just about there. And let me get this up here. Whoops. All right, guys. Well, thanks for tuning in. Thanks for checking out the stream. Thanks for the support, guys. The 3K subs. Really appreciate you guys. This channel's come a long way from all your support, so really appreciate all the donors, everybody that's contributed, either monetarily or just by viewership. Really appreciate it. Appreciate all the support. Dougal says, only done this once in the sim and totally stuffed it. Yeah. Well, hey, man. We're down. Sam Kenneth says, I don't know if any current flight sim streamers can even pull that off with the 21-knot tailwind right on the markers. Thanks. Sam Kenneth, that makes me feel better. Thank you, sir. Technical Aviator, welcome DCA, American Airlines World, and American Eagle. Yep. Dimitri, lots to be proud of on this one. Cap K, catch you on the next one. Have a good one, Dimitri. Enjoy the rest of your vacation, buddy. Thanks for the donation. Thanks for supporting the channel. Have a good vacation. Enjoy some time relaxing. Ed Reed says, it was cool that we both think ahead 2 minutes. Yep. What DCA scenery is this, V1? It is, whatever's on the, I think it was the newest Mr. X. I think it's the Mr. X one. I'll put a link in the Discord after I close the stream here. All right, great stream from a fellow bus driver. Thank you, Dynamics. Now to do the Calvi approach in France, visual to 3.6. And Carta, yeah, man, we've got our livery, so we're going to be headed over to Europe here pretty soon, man. Sam Kenneth says that ain't 300, would have bounced. Yeah, didn't look like 300 to me, but whatever. G's 1.17. Yeah, I forgot to look at the G's. I think there was like 1.1, something like that. Outside 7 says, if that's 300, I smash it with 3,800. All right, guys. 1.14 G's, thanks. Yeah, I didn't. Yeah, we'll see. All right, look at that. Look at that wing coming down. Whoops. Welcome to DC. All right, guys, I'm going to sign it off. Flower pedal reverser's coming out. I'm going to sign it off. I will catch you all in the next one. Thanks again for tuning in. I hope you have a blessed day wherever you are watching from. And I will catch you guys on the next stream. See ya. One last super chat before I was getting off. How much for one diaper? $2 donation, Calbara. Thank you so much, man, for that donation. Really appreciate it, buddy. That'll get a diaper for me. That'll get a diaper. I appreciate it. All right, I'm out of here, guys. Y'all have a good one. Take care.